Friends, we are in the midst of our sermon series called At the Movies, and because of copyright limitations, that service cannot be streamed. But don't go anywhere because I have a special devotion just for you today. Tomorrow, of course, is the 4th of July, a day in which we celebrate our freedom as a nation, and we also celebrate those who sacrificed themselves for our freedom. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about sacrifice and what sacrifice means. When we think about that word freedom, we often think about freedom to do what we want to do and when we want to do it. But I believe God calls us to freedom for a higher purpose. And often God calls us to that freedom for giving ourselves to others, for sacrificing ourselves that others might have life and have it abundantly. The freedom that's given to us from Christ is freedom for a higher power. Below, you're going to find a link to a clip from the movie Saving Private Ryan. It's one of my favorite movies, and I hope that you'll enjoy it as well. But the story revolves around a young man named, as you probably could have guessed, Private Ryan. And Private Ryan's brothers have all been killed in combat, and so his mother has lost her children to war, and they want to make sure that Ryan comes home so that his mom doesn't lose all of their kids. And so there's a special force that's sent out to track down Private Ryan on the front lines, to rescue him and to bring him back home to his mother, since his siblings had all been killed in war. And so the scene that you'll see is when this crew finally shows up to rescue Private Ryan, he refuses to go with them. He decides to stay and to fight alongside his brothers in arms. And some of that crew that went out to rescue him is very upset by this because a number of them have been killed on the way to go rescue him. And really what it comes down to, and they say this, is what makes Private Ryan so special? What makes his life more valuable than the lives that have already been lost in this crew that was searching for him? In essence, they're saying, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to go and get him. His life isn't any more valuable than the others. And it makes me think about this question. What do you value most in life? What do you value most in life? What are you unwilling to give up? We read in the Gospels about a rich young ruler who has followed the law, who has done all the right things, but Jesus tells him that he's still lacking one thing, that he needs to take all of his possessions and sell them to the poor. In essence, he needs to make this big sacrifice and follow Jesus. And it says that the man walks away upset and sad because he was very wealthy and he could not bring himself to sacrifice all of that stuff to follow Jesus. Friends, today we also remember what Jesus gave to us all, that Jesus came and lived a perfect life, that he sacrificed himself that we might have life, that we might have salvation. In doing so, we are called to give ourselves to others, in God's kingdom. And if you hear nothing else today during this devotion, hear this. I said in Private Ryan, they didn't think that Ryan's life was valued. Right? It was valued enough, at least for many to die, for him to be rescued. But I want you to know today that your life is of immeasurable value in God's eyes. That God sent his son Christ here to die because he loves you more than we can love anybody in this world. And so if you say, what does God value most in this world? Well, the answer is you. Your life is worth it, and that is why Jesus sacrificed. That's why Jesus gave himself, so that we all might know his salvation here and in the heavens. And so today we just give God thanks for the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, that he lived, that he died, and that he is raised so that we might have life and life abundantly as well. So know that you are of immeasurable value in God's eyes, and Christ gave himself for you. Blessings, and we hope to see you next Sunday.